You are watching William Patterson University Television.
Welcome back to the desk. We have Ryan, Breanna, Samory, and Justin here to talk about a hectic conference championship weekend. Justin, we'll go to you first. The Rams are in the Super Bowl for the first time since 2002. They beat the Saints 26-23 in overtime, but there was a little controversy. What are some of the biggest takeaways from the NFC title game?
Well, let's take a look at the stats and numbers and some highlights at that, too. Really, at the beginning of the game, it looked like it was going to be the Saints all the way. The dome seemed impossible for the Rams to have to communicate with each other. Ultimately, the final score was 26-23. The Rams threw for more yards, and they also rushed for 77. Interesting, though, they had more flags called them, 7-64. Now, there's a blatant pass interference call missed by the refs, which could have changed the outcome of the game, but ultimately it was missed on both sides at the same time, too. So really the dome itself gave an advantage to the Saints, and really the Saints just couldn't capitalize on it because we saw multiple times Jared Goff literally going up to his center and yelling at him what the audible was because they just couldn't hear each other.
Well, I just have to give a big shout out to Wade Phillips because he coached a really good game. Michael Thomas, the last time they played, he had over 200 yards, and they neutralized him down to 37 yards this game. Kamara, he was giving them problems, but Wade Phillips at halftime, he made adjustments. They would jam him at the line. So I really have to give it to Wade Phillips. He coached a good game. But also Jared Goff, like I guess they were messing with his helmet. He couldn't hear anything in that dome.
They had to turn the volume up.
Yeah, and he still did what he had to do to get the game out. You know, everybody's going to talk about the flag, but I think the Saints really could have won that game. So I believe they threw a pick. They were on like their 15-yard line, and they couldn't get a touchdown. That's the Rams' defense holding them to field goals, and it was just a lot of other things that the Rams won that game fair and square. I don't care what anybody says.
But also, with Sean Payton being too aggressive at the end of the game will really bit him because they could have run the ball and taken it inside the 2-minute warning. By him deciding to throw it, you're taking a lot of risk there.
Yeah, that's what he's known for. He's an aggressive coach. Like in the Super Bowl that they won, the onside kick, that was a very aggressive call, and if that would have backfired, he probably wouldn't have a job right now. So that's something that he's used to. So,
Breanna, what did you see in the game?
I think the Saints defense had a good first half, but that second half fell apart. That was the biggest problem for them. And you can't fall apart with defense in the second half when it comes to this Ram. That offense is too explosive. Jared Goff, Todd Gurley, you can't do that, and that's exactly what the Saints did.
Right.
I think that, and I know that obviously as everybody has been talking about, they've been Monday morning quarterbacking the refs, which is ironic. But the fact is that the Rams had, the Saints had 2 double-digit leads, blew both of them. And also, like, I know that a lot of people are saying you can't be contextual with this stuff when there's a blown call that cost the game, but, that jump ball that Drew Brees threw that got them inside the 15, that should have easily been intercepted. Same with the pass interference call. If he turns around, pick 6. If he's just facing the other way. I think that the Saints got lucky, to be honest with you, the way that they got down there. And again, aggression did cost them in the end, so I do think that the Rams deserve to win that game.
Ryan, we'll keep it with you. We'll switch to the AFC, though. Tom Brady and the Patriots, once again. Death, taxes, and Brady making the Super Bowl. 9th time overall, 3rd straight year. The Patriots beat the Chiefs 37-31, also an overtime game. What did you take away from the AFC title game?
I took away, well, first of all, let's take a look at the stats and some highlights here. 524 total yards for the Patriots and 94 total plays as opposed to 47 for the Chiefs. On every facet except the score, which was obviously only a 6-point deficit, the Patriots dominated that game. But the thing that I took away mostly from that game was simply the greatness of both quarterbacks. Obviously, if Aaron Rodgers is the best pure quarterback of all time, Brady is the greatest clutch quarterback of all time. He has consistently done this over and over and over again, time in and time out, and he just proved again that he is just the best playoff quarterback of all time. But Patrick Mahomes, he did start off pretty rough, 0-4 to begin the game, but then he ended up having an overall better quarterbacking game than Brady did. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and I think that he did prove on the biggest stage besides the Super Bowl that he is going to be a true Super Bowl contender with the Chiefs in the years coming.
I think the biggest thing to take away from this game was that the Chiefs' defense fell asleep through the first 3 quarters. I mean, yes, they had the interception when the Patriots marched down the ball, then the second possession. But you can't play catch up with Tom Brady, and that's exactly what that offense ended up having to do. And the offense was asleep the first 3 quarters as well, and that's cost the Chiefs, and that's why the New England Patriots are in the Super Bowl now.
Smart.
I don't like Tom Brady. I'm just going to make that openly clear.
Join the club.
Who does?
That's Michael Jordan right there, the NFL, for quarterbacks, because, we can't do it with the wide receivers and everybody else. But that guy, he's as much as I don't like him and his team, he's just great, and there's nothing you can take from him. But I got to give a shout out to Pat Mahomes. You know, I don't want to say I was on the hate train. I didn't think that he would be able to do what he could do for the whole season. But hey, that's the MVP. I'll admit it. But the Rams are still in the Super Bowl, so I'll take that.
Looking at the total plays, 94-47, the Patriots had 50-plus run plays, and that's what led them to control the clock and nearly dominate the game. In overtime, it was a 6-minute drive, but really they only ran like 6 or 7 plays because they have 4 capable running backs, which is the scary thing to think about the Patriots, because when you think about Tom Brady, you just think about Gronk, Edelman, but now they have Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead, and James White. They can control the run game and really just take control of the game without even trying. And that's the scariest thing to think about the Patriots going into the Super Bowl.
Also, if you look at the time of possession that they had, the Patriots dominated the offensive side of the ball the entire game. I think it's like a 20 minutes they had more than the Chiefs did, so that's also a factor.
Because also in the first half, how many times do you see Pat Mahomes drop back, get sacked, take him out of any type of play to make a 3rd and long, and have to just punt it away after about a minute or so off the clock? Andy Reid pretty much pulled a full Andy Reid and
Unfortunately.
didn't change up the game plan in time either.
Now, the big elephant in the room coming out of both conference championship games was poor officiating, missed calls, blown calls. It made me throw some things at my TV a couple of points during the AFC Championship game. Breanna, we'll go to you. What can the NFL do to prevent something like this from happening again? Or is this just the way it has to be?
It's just the way it has to be. I mean, every single season there's a problem with some type of rule, some type of catch, and we review and review it. We change the rule, but at the end of the day, nothing really happens. So I think that they really want to change. The committee needs to sit down and have a talk about what's effective and what's not effective when playing the game.
I think, actually, for the first time in a long time, I think ever, me and Justin actually agree on something, and that is the fact that I think that there should be a review system implemented for penalties. Not all penalties. I think it should just be 15-yard penalties, because those are like the big penalties in games that really cost you. So like defensive pass interference, roughing the passer. A coach should be able to challenge that in order to determine whether it was truly whether it wasn't pass interference, whether it was pass interference, roughing the passer, not roughing the passer. But those 2 penalties really were the big ones of the NFL season this year, and I think they need to take care of that going forward.
I want to bounce off of Ryan. Really what they could do is have an extra official up in the box who's just responsible for watching the ball and where it goes. So obviously then he could have buzzed down to the field and watched that Saints play and be like, hey, that's a clear pass interference call. Because even though officials are on the field, their sight lines are completely different. So if you have an extra eye in the sky, that can definitely help alleviate the big plays downfield, because we've seen numerous times the teams just chuck it up and get the pass interference call, and they're like 40 yards downfield off of a terrible throw, really.
They shouldn't do anything, I don't think, because I don't know if you guys remember, the Cowboys played the Lions in the playoff game, and the Lions had a nice pass down the field. It was a pass interference. They threw the flag and picked it up. Can people review that? I'm just saying, I don't know what you're going to do with that. It's really not fair to people to review calls that have already been called. You can't really do anything. I do think the Saints got jibbed in that call, but what can you do?
Also, reviewing the last 2 minutes of the game is pivotal, because they fell short on both games. They fell short those 2 minutes.
The competition committee will be looking at it over the offseason. Hopefully they will come to some sort of consensus. That's all for this episode of WP Sports Desk. Thank you, as always, to our analysts, crew, and studio manager, Al Clarke. From Studio B in Hobart Hall, I'm Dante Vocaturo. We'll see you next time. It went to the 8 minutes.